Chapter 1, the problem nobody is solving for you. There is no solar panel here, no generator humming in the background, and no utility company bill waiting on the kitchen table. The power has been out for 3 days in this part of the county. And yet, look at that. A string of LED lights glowing steadily, a small fan turning, a phone charging in the corner, all running off a device sitting quietly on a wooden shelf that cost me $15 to build from parts I found at a hardware store on a Tuesday afternoon. I am not going to tell you this is some revolutionary breakthrough that just came out of a university lab. It is not. Engineers in rural communities have understood this principle for well over a century. Small-scale wind and thermoelectric generation systems have powered remote lighthouses off the coast of Norway, irrigation pumps in the highlands of Peru, and radio stations deep in the Mongolian steppe, places where the nearest electrical grid is not a few miles away, but an entire mountain range away. The reason most people have never seriously considered building one of these is genuinely frustrating when you think about it. The technology is too simple, too cheap, and too effective for any large company to make serious money selling it to you in its basic form. So instead, they sell you complexity. They sell you dependence. Let me show you the version they never advertised. You already understand the core principle. You have watched it work your entire life and simply never framed it this way. It is a temperature difference creating movement. That is wind forming because one patch of ground heats faster than the patch next to it. That is a river generating mechanical energy as water drops from a higher elevation to a lower one. Energy is constantly moving through the world around you, changing form, looking for somewhere to go. Every gust of wind passing your window is kinetic energy that dissipates into nothing the moment it hits your wall. What you are building is a surface and a system for intercepting that energy before it disappears. The physics behind small wind generation is not complicated. Moving air pushes against a blade. The blade turns. That rotation drives a small generator, which is really just a motor running in reverse. Moving magnets past copper wire coils produce electrical current. That current gets stored in a battery and then drawn out whenever you need it. A separate but complementary process involves thermoelectric generation. When one side of a special metal sandwich called a Peltier module is kept warmer than the other side, electrons in the material begin moving in one direction. That directional movement is electrical current. You are not burning anything. You are not consuming any fuel. You are simply holding a temperature difference in place and siphoning off the energy it naturally produces. Both systems together, properly sized and connected, can run low-power household essentials indefinitely, as long as wind blows and temperatures vary, which they do everywhere on Earth, every single day. Air is everything you need. This is genuinely the complete list. A small salvaged DC motor from an old printer, treadmill, or cordless drill. You can find these at thrift stores, electronic recycling bins, or online for between $3 and $6. This becomes your wind generator. 3 to 5 plastic blades cut from a 2-liter bottle or thin sheet of PVC. Free, or essentially free. The shape matters more than the material. 1 Peltier thermoelectric module, model Tech 12706. Available at any electronics supplier or online marketplace. Approximately $4 to $5 for a pack of 2. 1 18650 lithium battery cell or a salvaged battery pack from an old laptop. Nigger as if you have a dead laptop in a closet, which statistically you probably do. A basic charge controller SARC, either salvaged from a broken solar lamp or purchased as a small module for around $2. Wire, electrical tape, a small plastic project box for housing the electronics. Another $2 combined if you buy them. Likely already in your garage. Total? $12 to $17 depending on what you already own. If you strip a dead laptop, an old printer, and a busted desk fan, your total cost approaches $0. Start with the wind generator because it is the primary power source and the most satisfying part to watch work. Mount your DC motor at the top of a vertical pipe or wooden post. The shaft of the motor needs to point directly into the prevailing wind direction in your location. Take an afternoon and notice where the breeze consistently comes from. That observation is worth more than any compass reading. Cut your blades from a 2-liter bottle by slicing it lengthwise into 3 curved sections. The natural curve of the bottle is already close to an ideal airfoil shape. Attach each blade to a central hub, which can be as simple as a wooden disc with slots cut into it, at an angle of roughly 10 to 15 degrees relative to the plane of rotation. Think of how a ceiling fan blade is angled, not flat, not perpendicular, but pitched. Connect the motor shaft to this hub. When wind pushes the blades, the hub turns, the motor shaft turns inside the motor housing, and current begins flowing out of the 2 motor leads. Now for the thermoelectric component. This part does its best work overnight and on cool mornings, exactly when wind generation sometimes slows. Mount the Peltier module between two metal surfaces. One side faces outward, exposed to ambient air. The other side faces a small container of water or a sealed pocket of thermal mass, something that changes temperature more slowly than the surrounding air. As outside air cools rapidly after sunset, the exposed face of the module drops in temperature faster than the insulated inner face. That difference, even just 8 to 12 degrees Celsius, is enough to generate a small but steady trickle of usable current. Both outputs, from the motor and from the Peltier module, feed into your charge controller. The charge controller feeds the battery. The battery powers whatever you connect to it through a small inverter if you need standard AC current, or directly if your devices run on USB or 12-volt DC, which most modern essentials do. Let me be honest with you about output, because honesty is what makes this useful. A single motor generator with blades in the 12-inch diameter range, operating in a moderate steady breeze of around 10 miles per hour, produces roughly 5 to 15 watts continuously. Over 24 hours in reasonable wind conditions, that is 120 to 360 watt-hours. That is enough to keep LED lighting running all night, charge 3 or 4 phones completely, run a small radio or fan for hours, and maintain a low-power security camera system indefinitely. The Peltier module at a temperature differential of 10 degrees Celsius produces approximately 1 to 3 watts. Modest on its own, but it runs for 8 to 10 hours every night without any attention whatsoever, adding 10 to 30 watt-hours to your storage bank while you sleep. The first week I ran this combined system through a stretch of ordinary weather, nothing dramatic, moderate wind, normal temperature swings. I accumulated enough stored power to run my workshop lighting and keep 2 devices charged without once touching the grid. Scale the blade diameter to 24 inches and your wind output quadruples. Add a second Peltier module and your nighttime trickle doubles. The math compounds quickly. This is not a curiosity. In the right hands with a free Saturday afternoon, this is a functional off-grid power system built entirely from parts a hardware store and a recycling bin can provide. The part of this story that stays with me longest is not the technology itself. It is how long it has existed and how thoroughly it disappeared from common knowledge. Nikola Tesla demonstrated small self-contained generation systems in the 1890s using principles almost identical to what we have described here. Remote Alaskan fishing communities were using micro-wind generators to power radio equipment by the 1930s, decades before rural electrification reached them through official infrastructure. The British Antarctic expedition of the early 20th century used thermoelectric generators fueled by nothing more than the temperature difference between a heated interior and the frozen exterior wall of a research hut, running instruments continuously for months. None of this knowledge was lost because it stopped working. It was simply deprioritized. When centralized utility grids expanded after World War II and electricity became cheap and available at the flip of a switch, the practical pressure to know these alternatives evaporated. The skills sat in technical manuals, in the memories of old engineers, in the footnotes of papers that nobody had reason to read anymore. The tap worked, so we stopped thinking about where the water came from. $15 in one afternoon is all it takes to bring that thinking back. The air moving past your house right now is carrying energy. The temperature dropping outside your window tonight is producing a gradient that wants to become electricity. You now know how to collect it. Whatever brought you here tonight, curiosity, necessity, or just a quiet feeling that you should know how to do things for yourself, it does not matter. The knowledge works the same either way. Now it belongs to you. If this changes the way you look at the energy already moving through your world, subscribe and support the channel. We are rebuilding the practical knowledge that the modern world quietly set aside. The next forgotten system will be uncovered soon.